What's up YouTube? Today we're going to do a pretty interesting video. This is going to be a comparison between Project Cars and Assetto Corsa using the Oculus Rift, a Logitech G25, and my Spec D Racing Sim Rig setup. What you can't see below is my pedal setup. Right here I got a 6-speed gated shifter. None of that actually works because we are in a McLaren P1, so naturally the paddles are what shifts it. But clutch still works. See, I can do that and then slowly release it and stall the car almost. But what we're going to take a look at today is basically how the games feel in comparison to each other. We're going to be using the exact same cars. We're going to be using the exact same track. Like I said, this is a McLaren P1 if you haven't noticed already, and we are on the Nürburgring, and I am waiting in the pits just by the start-finish line here. Looking around the cabin, as you can see, I have a full 360-degree view of the entire world around me. I can move left and right, lean in and out. I can even look behind me, so there's the top of the engine there, and I can look out the back. At speed, if you look back, you'll actually see the wing come up, and when you use the brakes, you'll see it deploy and all that. It's actually pretty neat. You can look up around this rearview mirror here, look up at the dash, over here at these controls, which look like your light controls. That looks like the parking sensor. Is that what that is? Parking sensors, maybe. You got your little screen here. It's telling you what time it is, 18:02 for all you 24-hour clock people. Down here is drive, neutral, and reverse. There's my hazard lights. I believe that is the electronic parking brake. Got a bit of a cup holder here and some storage. See the seats here, carbon fiber everywhere. Up here we got some, that looks to be the lighting inside the car. So you'd press those buttons and it would turn on, I'm guessing little LEDs somewhere. I don't see them. Over here, airbag, see your seatbelt. See outside the car, see this window is a little bit dirty, but you can lean through it and look. Yeah, so as far as immersion and positional tracking for Assetto Corsa with the Oculus Rift, it is fucking spot on. It is amazing in this game. Yeah, like you don't really clip through anything unless you really want to. So I can sit here and comfortably look around just like I'd be in the car with my head leaned back. And you don't really clip through anything. You can see a bit of it there, but I'm at a very extreme reclined position. Normally you'd be sitting like this, and you don't clip through anything. So that's really good. The detail inside is fantastic. The feeling of the steering wheel, and again, this is just stock settings. I told the game what steering I have and what peripherals I'm using, and it just auto set it up, and force feedback feels great. So let's go ahead and stop talking, and let's get started. So here we are pulling out onto the track. Audio is great. You can hear the wastegates and the turbo spool up right behind your head here. I do have the track set at 8 a.m., so there is a lot of glare. Please excuse that. It's going to look very different in Project Cars. Overall beginning feel, steering is very tight. You feel every bit of the road. You can actually feel the steering shake as the car idles back there, which is really nice. Gotta get some heat into these tires, Jesus Christ. Okay. Let's try this again. Take it easy for a little bit till the tires warm up. This is a simulation video game compared to Assetto Corsa, which is more so simulation, but it has a lot of arcade elements and feel to it, and I'll explain that when we play that game here. So let's go ahead and start to open this thing up a bit. Now what I really love is how tight the steering feels. When you go over this little crest here, it gets loose because the suspension's unloading, there's less weight on the front tires. I really like the way that feels. There are no electronic assists on right now other than ABS, so that means no traction control, no stability control. And what I really like most about Assetto Corsa is that you really gotta focus when you play this game, because this is 100% driver input. if you screw up, nothing's going to save you. And that feels very true to life compared to Project Cars, which I've already played. You can get away with a lot more in that game, let's say. But this game, you definitely need to hold your breath and focus in comparison, which I really thoroughly enjoy and look for in a simulation game. I love the way the steering feels. I love the fact that every time you blip through a gear, you feel it in the steering. Came through there at hot. Alright, let's get back into it. Just a very, very accurate experience when playing Assetto Corsa in this configuration. Like, this game was developed to be used with VR, and it has adopted it, it has implemented it extremely well. It feels very natural, a constant smooth 75 frames per second, because the refresh rate of the Dk2 is 75 hertz. This is only running on one card. A lot of you probably know my rig. It's got a 4-way setup. This is just one card. The performance is great. Sorry, I'm just trying to focus here. I love the fact that when you go over a rumble strip, you feel it. I mean, it's... If you look at my hands on this window here where you can see me live, if you look at my hand inputs, they are identical to that of what you're seeing on the screen here, which really, really adds to the immersion. Because as far as I'm concerned, aside from not having any motion right now, I am in this car because when I see my hands doing this, I also feel them doing that. So my mind is being tricked into thinking that those are my actual hands, and it really adds to the immersion. When you take the rift off after a 20 or 30 minute session going around the Nürburgring in whatever car you've chosen, you are completely awestruck and reality checked because you completely forget that you're sitting in a room in your house. You feel like you're there. I mean, vision is the primary and most dominant sense. And as far as your brain's concerned, what you see is real. And what you hear is real. And aside from being thrown around, going through all these turns, your vision and hearing have taken over your senses. And it's pretty much convinced you that shit. No, you see the wing? It's pretty much convinced your mind that this is real and this is happening. So it's a wonderful experience. Back with that sun glare again. I really got to change the time of day on the track because I cannot see a thing. And this windshield is pretty grungy. Here we go, into the carousel. Flat. Brakes. Just what an amazing experience. That's the thing about Assetto Corsa, it is 100% simulation, so if you make any sort of mistake, you're paying for it. And I love that about this game, because there's no forgiveness. When you do a good solid lap, and you get down that track and you don't hit nothing, and everything goes great, like, you earned that. You really did do a good job. Whereas in Project Cars, I find it's a bit more arcadey. Like I said, there's a lot of things that you can get away with in that game that you can't in Assetto Corsa. So it's really, really much more rewarding playing a true-to-right sim racer. Compared to something a little bit more arcadey. I mean, sure, it's more fun to some some people to be able to go around a track and not have to care about your throttle inputs or your apex or what gear you're in or whatever. But yeah, to other people like me, I love the fact that this is hard. That you really need to like work up a sweat and drive your fucking ass off to get the most out of the car. So now we're gonna go ahead and hop into Project Cars and you'll take a look at the difference. So I'll see you there. And welcome back. Here we are inside Project Cars. Let's take a look around the cabin here. Now this game looks a little bit more different. A lot of neat features actually in this. There's things like you can use the wiper blades because there's actual weather patterns in this game. There's also options here to turn on the headlights. So now you can sort of illuminate where you go and it lights up the interior, which is really neat. A lot of detail. That's actually really cool. I know there might be settings to change the dash cluster. I've seen that on some of the cars. I'm not sure how that works on this though. But oh, that's different. That's really neat. When you turn your head, the pits are behind me, and I can hear all the noise. And it when I look to the right, it starts coming out of the right side headset because it's that way. When I look to the left, same thing. So that's really neat. So I'm in a comfortable position. There is a lot more clipping in this game than there is in Assetto Corsa. I feel like this game is much less optimized for the Oculus Rift than Assetto Corsa is. I'm sitting comfortably. I look down, I can see through my chest, and again, you can like sort of move away from that, but when you look up, you're almost always clipping. Whereas in Assetto Corsa, it's very rare that you are, and also when you turn back, you can't see a lot of the details that you did on Assetto Corsa, which again is another thing. Visually, my right eye is not getting the same shadowing that my left eye is. Like there's a lot of sun glare right now with my my left eye, but if I close it and look at my right eye, there's no sun glare at all. It's almost as if this glass isn't here, like at all. So that's another bug with the Oculus Rift. Again, these are all things that I'm sure will get fixed. We can hear the tires against the asphalt here. But well, there's something different. You can see the reflection moving around as you move. Does not change the reflection in the mirror though. And if you look up, let's see if we turn the lights on. Oh yeah, those illuminate too. Passenger seatbelt, that's neat. So, a little bit different features between the two games. I do like the fact that you can turn on your headlights. There is nighttime racing in this game compared to Assetto Corsa. So there's features in Project Cars that Assetto Corsa doesn't have that I wish it did. Now let's go ahead and start this lap here and we'll talk about the differences. Oh shit! That was off to a good start. Let's try that again. Let's see here. So the controls are a little bit different so far, different feel. Again, this game is a little bit more arcadey than Project Cars, or than Assetto Corsa, as I was saying. Now, right away, something I really don't like with Project Cars. And again, this is just sort of the default setup. I told Project Cars I have a G25 and an Oculus Rift. Make it work. And this is how I set it up. Whereas right now, no matter what I drive on, and no matter what sort of inputs I put on gearing or braking, nothing's happening with the steering. It feels very stiff all the time. You cannot tell when the car is pushing, which means like when the front tires are losing traction and it starts to push. In Assetto Corsa, when that happens, the steering gets very loose because there's no friction on the tires. It is sliding. Whereas in this game, the steering feels identical all the time, so it's very difficult to read what the tires in the front are doing, which really takes you away from the immersion. Like right now, there is no force feedback happening. There's no vibration from speed happening. Everything is visual right now. So that is a big negative in Project Cars for me. Audio is, it's good. There's a lot of different sounds that you're hearing. The road noise does get louder the faster you go, which is nice. I feel it's a lot more visceral in Assetto Corsa in terms of how the car sounds, how the inputs sound, flipping of the throttle, the wastegates, the turbo spooling. Audio, I'm going to give it to Assetto Corsa so far. But again, that lack of steering feel is such a negative. It really takes you out of the car. And what I mean by that is like you just, nothing happens, you know? A little bit of a vibration from going off the road there, but when you hit this rumble strip, here, I'll go off for this one here. Like you don't feel it at all. And that is so weird, especially going from Assetto Corsa, where, you know, you had such intense experience where, you know, you're working up a sweat, your heart rate is increasing, and you're really into it. Like you're driving a McLaren P1 around the ring, and you gotta fucking focus, otherwise you're putting it in a wall. Like that is how intense it gets you. And in Project Cars here, I mean, visually it looks nice. And you know, the features of being able to turn on the headlights, and when it starts to rain, you got your windshield wiper going. Like, there's a lot of cool stuff there. But you feel very removed. You know, and little things, like the details when you look behind and you can't see the engine bay, you actually just see through the rear fender of the car, and the fact that my right eye is getting shadowing and my left eye is getting nothing, like that's making me feel a little bit sick. But again, that's just a bug. Most people, or pretty much everyone's told just to shut off shadows when playing with the Oculus Rift until they fix it. I never had that problem with the Assetto Corsa. It worked day one out of the box, no problem. I mean, I can overlook the shadow thing completely. You know, the audio being decent but not great in comparison, that's totally fine too. What I cannot overlook is the lack of feedback. I mean, the car feels alive in your hands when you're playing Assetto Corsa. When you're playing Project Cars, all you're getting is a stiff, like constantly stiff. It doesn't matter what your steering inputs are. It doesn't matter if the front's plowing or anything. It feels the same 100% of the time. There's no feedback from the road surface when you're coming up off of suspension and the front end's unloading. The steering does not get loose because it's losing traction on the front. Or when you're coming down a dip and it gets hard, you do not feel it do that. It's very different. I don't know what else to say. It is. If you were to sit and play each of them back to back as I just have, it's pretty bad. Like there's a lot of really cool features in Project Cars, like the day-night cycle, the weather patterns, the fact that you can use your headlights and things like that. Little things make a big difference, but I mean also like when you can see your foot. Like the way your foot goes is it's the same as yours. I'm sorry, I'm just losing words here. It's not just like an on-off, you know, like where it'd be like this or this. It has, like, there's a progression between off and on, which is nice there. That you don't have in Assetto Corsa. Your feet are pretty much stationary. But when it comes to, you know, for little details, I'll give it to Project Cars. For feel and proper enjoyment, I'm gonna give it to Assetto Corsa all day long, because going through this carousel, my steering wheel should be shaking like hell, and it feels like I'm just turning left on a flat surface. Like there's nothing happening. That really sucks. And like I said, or I don't think I mentioned, There may be a way to change that, but I'm just comparing the two games out of the box. And in terms of ease of use, I just told Assetto Corsa this is what I have, make it work. And it did. It set up the force feedback, everything. Like, this has force feedback. You can feel it kick in every now and then. Like, when you go off of this, there was a bit of a jerk there. But when you're going on the rumble strips, there's nothing. When you're driving on the road, there's a change in surface or a change in suspension. Like, all of that, there's nothing happening. Constant scraping sound while you're not moving. You know what? It's not even really that enjoyable because I don't feel like I'm driving this car. I feel like I'm sitting inside of a car. This feels very artificial, is what Project Cars feels. It feels very artificial in comparison, at least out of the box. Also, I mean, we'll take a look at the positional tracking real quick. But, yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, if I had to sit and drive a car for 10 minutes neither, all day long, it'd be an Assetto Corsa. Like, not good. At least until they fix it, or, you know, there's some sort of magic setting with the force feedback, but it is so fucking numb. So, there you have it. Assetto Corsa all day long. Anyways, I want to thank you guys for taking the time out of your day to watch this video. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more videos if you enjoyed what you see. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and carry on with the rest of my day. Thanks for watching. Peace, bitches.